Well, hello guys, Coding is back, and today we're going to be talking about CSS and styling the entire HTML web page that we get from there. So, so today I'm going to be talking about what are the different ways you can apply CSS to an HTML file and what is the format of CSS code, and I'm going to be teaching you some of the basic functions and parameters that you could set to style all of your HTML web pages. So if you like amazing content like this and check out my previous videos, please hit the subscribe button and like my videos and share it with rest of the people. Share it with everybody you know who loves coding. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have a blank HTML, Visual Studio Code project open. I'm just gonna create the HTML file, index.html. So I'm not able to type right now. Exclamation point, hit enter, like I showed you in the previous video of Emmet. Get this boilerplate code down here for us. So I'm just gonna be saying crash course CSS. So CSS is essentially cascading style sheets. So I'm going to be writing H1, get a class of CSS, and then I'm going to be putting introduction to cascading style sheets. And then next, I'm going to be putting a button with a class of CSS button and hit enter, and the text I want to put here, you guessed it, CSS. Sorry, CSS. It's not a thing. So next up I'm gonna be keeping a link href, and I'm gonna be putting it to, I'm just gonna create on a web page, okay? About.html. Essentially, I'm gonna make this page a 404 error page. So H1 404 error, and then I'm gonna be like H2 go back to the previous page, and then put a href link, and then I put ./index.html. Save it, and we take this thing off. So and then I put dot slash about.html, and then check this out. So as of now, these are the only things I'm going to be keeping. So in case you didn't know, there are a few ways you could actually apply your CSS. Actually, a style attribute to this, so you could do style, and then wait, let me first open this up with live server and see how the HTML document looks like. As I showed you in the video about initializing Visual Studio Code, you just open up live server here. Oh sorry, I was doing my DC circuits crash course, so yeah. And then introduction to cascading style sheets, a button with CSS. It doesn't actually do anything. And then when you go this, it says 404 error. Go back to the previous page, but the link is not shown. Interesting. Oh, okay. Click this. I didn't actually put a text that'll show up. Yeah, now that shows up. And then I talk about, essentially click this to go back. And then yep, so to style it, I'm gonna start by applying this inline styles in the HTML tag itself. So I'm gonna keep color red. Save it. Yeah, see, it turns this thing red. But this is actually not the ideal way to actually proceed with the CSS code. So I'm just gonna be removing this for you to know. Wait, you know what? I'll actually keep it, and I'm gonna make a H1 inline CSS code, and then I'm gonna be putting this inline style equals to, I'm having trouble typing today, color red. Okay, So yeah, inline CSS code and it's red. So next I'm gonna keep another one. Style tag in HTML. This probably gives everything away. So there's actually a CSS style tag which can be applied. So what I do right now is I just essentially go style, and then so in CSS I'm gonna basically introduce the notion of writing CSS code. Um, you have a selector. I'm just gonna be writing the format selector. Okay, it can be a tag, suppose like h1, or it can be a class like this one class is called CSS. So selector and then curly braces, and then there is gonna be parameter color red, as you saw, margin 0. There are tons of them. Okay, I'm not gonna be explaining each and every one, just some sort of stuff that beginners might see. BG, emit for background, black, and then yeah, that's just the format how it goes. So with that basic format, so let's try to style or h1. Okay, this class is style tag. Okay, say that and come here, dot style tag. When you use a period before the class to essentially indicate that this is a class of a tag. So we're gonna be saying color equals to shadow royal blue. Okay, and then font size equals to 30 px. See, it goes slightly smaller and it gets styled this way. And yeah, like I said, this isn't the most effective way to style it as well with a style tag, because HTML, as I said before, is all about the content. You apply styles, you're going to mix everything up and have potential errors based on where you assign which style and that sort of confusion. So, as I say, the best way to actually indicate styles is you get a link. So you get automatically just pre-populated, but we haven't actually created that style.css. Let's do that real quick. Style.css, and that's the thing. I'm just going to save it. I'm gonna actually enlarge this a little bit so you can see better. So yeah, and then we automatically jump to the style.css. Pretty sure there's nothing left but the HTML to do. Yeah, so what we could do is what our normal people actually start with when coding. They put the star symbol to indicate absolutely everything on this page, head, body, every single thing. And then if we do curly braces, usually people put margin. I'm not going to be using image right now to confuse you all. 0 padding, 0, and box size in border box. And then sometimes people choose font family, career new. Let's try that. Okay, so this is Korean new, but then there are actually a very what do I say, limited list of choices to font family that you have. So to help with that, what I essentially do is go to fonts.google.com and click enter. So they have all of these fonts. Okay, I'm just gonna get Chelsea Market since I've never tried that and I like it. So the different styles, the only one in this font is regular 400. So I'm gonna select that style. To embed that into our code, we could either use a link tag, which I sometimes use, or you could use an import tag, which is inside CSS. I'm just gonna be copy pasting this import tag in the front of our CSS document. Control save. And then I'm just gonna take this, copy paste that. So we essentially save that, and bada boom, we see this. So all of this changes to match the font family in here. So and then we can start selecting our specific. Let's say we want to select this H1 and give it some cool animations transition. Actually, we're not going to be putting animations here. And then, yeah, H1 has a class of CSS. Dot CSS. I'm going to show it with BG. Actually, you know what? So what people like to do after this star, put a body to it. So they put body, and to center everything, I'm going to show you this cool trick, display flex, and then justify content, center, align sorry about that, align items, center. So you do that. To reload any minute. So this is what happens. You want to keep this dead center here. What you do about that is essentially add a min height of 100 VH. Essentially center everything out here. So the width essentially I don't know, you could try min width 100 VW. Doesn't make a difference, see, because the width, to change it, people actually don't intend on changing that width right there, so they're not going to keep. So what happens when you keep min width? So they're going to say this is the minimum width that you can acquire for this particular text, but this is already this is not probably the min width. Suppose we try to expand this, expand. See, it expands to fill the space, so min width cannot actually cover the problem. So I'm just going to delete that for now. And then suppose you want to apply border to this. So let's go for border 1 pixel solid. So I'm going to put a random color 4 5. Oops, where's the border? Oh, it's really faint. You see the edge here? It's really faint. So I think I just got to do padding 0, margin 0, and then okay, I put the width here to 40 pixels. Oopsies, that just got everything to the left side of the page. So full screen, you will see it's 40 pixels here, but we obviously don't want that, do we? So 200 pixels. I changed my mind. 200 pixels. A little better, not completely. Let's change it to 100 VW. How about that? Centers everything out, and then gives you and makes you see this nice little bar. I'm gonna make it a lot thicker. Let's see, 9px. Yeah, see, now you see this dynamic thing wrapping around this entire container. So yeah, that's body. Suppose you want to select a particular h1 tag. So go h1. It's gonna select all of these different. If you want to give any group styles to all of these, sorry, not the link for all of these, you could select just the h1. But then you want to select this particular tag, you could just do .css like I showed you, and then suppose color, do some random color, F54E45. How does that turn out? Oops, probably must be almost the same color as this. So let's get going. I want to put a slight let's see, what shall we include to this text? We can make it more stylish by putting a font weight. You could say font weight bolder. It's gonna bold itself. You see that? Okay, and then font weight, font size essentially 40 rem. That's super big. Oops. How about 4 rem? That's really big, but we'll have to do. You can do that, or you know what? Let's try a border around this whole CSS. Border. That's not exactly the way to go, but 3px solid. Yeah, you see? So what essentially happened is when you apply a border to the body is essentially this entire content here. So it applied a border on this. But in this CSS class, it only extends out here. So if you go to this page, it's in any CSS class. So there's a border on this for that reason. So okay, let's talk about styling buttons. Okay. So I'm just gonna make this slightly small, 0.5 rem. Okay, so that's better. Okay, so now let's talk about the button. What class does that button have? Okay, I'm gonna be using an ID for this one for fun, just to show you how it's gonna be. ID. People generally use IDs for JavaScript because there's a tag called document.getElement.id, which is used a lot to select buttons and that sort of stuff to actually manipulate them and to do the desired thing. So that's used for JavaScript. But I'm just going to be showing you in case you change your mind, you want to use it via CSS. I'm going to keep a pound symbol and put, what's the class again? Oh my god, I forgot to read it. Class button, understood. CSS button, I mean, sorry for that. CSS button, okay, confirmed. So, CSS button. So what we could do with that is border, border none, and go with color. Let's go with AE45F. I don't know what that color is going to lead us to, but it did it. That's some color. So, and then background color. I'm gonna show you something called background. I'm pretty sure you know that already, but there's a cool option here called linear gradient. So what this essentially does is like, you could say the blending of colors in a direction. In this case, I'm gonna do to right. You can actually adjust it as an angle to plus 120 degrees or whatever. To right, and then I'm gonna put random ones again. No, not RE, can be REs. So F45632, and then I'm gonna put E4567. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, save. Oops, this is a really bad shade. Let me just see if I can yeah, I'm gonna make it a little lighter to that. A little better, but not so good. And then I'm just gonna do box shadow. 1 pixel. Okay, wait. Top right, bottom left. Okay, so 0 at the top, 0 pixels, and then right I'm gonna put 2 pixels, down 4 pixels, and left 0 pixels, solid black. Well, that didn't work too well, did it? I think this parameter is sorry, but that I keep confusing. Yeah, you see this little bit. I'm gonna zoom in like superb. Okay, let me move. I can't move, can I? Oh yeah, you see this slight sort of shadow or a smear around that button. That is essentially the box shadow. And then there's one more thing you usually do with buttons, and that's giving cursor pointer. So what that essentially does is you saw that before we put this one sec, save it. This just was like a normal cursor. You didn't know whether you could click it or not. But then now when I put this, you get that option to click the CSS button. So yeah, you could do a lot of it with the A tag also. I just didn't do it properly. I need to put a class on this because I prefer classes to IDs. I'm just gonna put link. Okay. So what that's gonna do is I'm just gonna go dot link, and then let's do text decoration none. You see the underline that we just saw is removed. And then I'm gonna color whatever he says. So yeah, we have the options to basically style this buttons. Almost every single thing you could style it. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna take this linear gradient off. Put a solid color, okay? So there's like a sort of cool effects that we could do with this. Okay, so I'm gonna make it white. You'll be like, hey, why it's so bland? I'm gonna show you something that is really noticeable. So border, I'm gonna put that as 2px solid F457E3. Yes, nice color. So okay, so noticeable. And then so you see buttons have a special thing where you can put a colon and say hover. So this essentially what it does is it shows that when we hover over the button, what essentially should happen. So we could be like background color is equal to this. I'm gonna put that hashtag, put this, save it. So yeah, see that happens. I'm gonna change the color to white. See how this goes. When that seems a little too abrupt, the way it changes suddenly from this to this to that. So I'm gonna keep transition. So it's all 0.5 s even. You see how this goes? I'm like, look at that smooth transition all the way from this stage of the button to this stage of the button. You see the box shadow also disappears when you hover it. Very quickly, but it doesn't actually do anything. For that, we need JavaScript, which I'm going to be covering later. So that's it, folks, for CSS. And then this is what you use to make prettier web pages. So in case you like this video, please give this a like and then check out my previous videos too. And then thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episodes. I'll be seeing you.